Hello everyone! Today, we'll be seeing how fast Kangaskhan can beat Pokemon Red version in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. In the previous video, we did Tauros in Pokemon Red, and that thing did surprisingly good, ended up getting 0 resets, although it was held back by the Brock split. And Kangaskhan today is going to be held back by the Brock split as well. But first, let's take a look at our stats. We have 105 HP, which is insane, 95 attack, which is also pretty decent, that's actually higher than I thought, 80 defense, 40 special, which is way lower than I thought, and 90 speed. And fortunately, we are in the medium fast level up group, and the problem was Tauros was in the slow level up group. So I had to do extra trainers in order to make sure I was a good enough level for the end game. But hopefully we won't have to do that with Kangaskhan today. However though, Kangaskhan also has some problems we're going to need to deal with. If we take a look at our moveset, we start off with Comet Punch and Rage. Rage and Comet Punch are not as good as Tackle, but the advantage with Comet Punch is that it can hit multiple times on Brock, which can end up being useful. Plus, surprisingly, Rage is actually also going to be quite good on him, because it's not going to do much damage, yeah, but his Pokemon using Tackle and stuff like that, it's not going to do that much damage to me, so my Rage counter will actually go up and I can do more damage to him. And then all the way at level 26 we get Bite, and then Tail Whip, Mega Punch, Leer, and then Dizzy Punch, its signature move at level 46. We're not going to use its signature move, we'll just use the TM for Body Slam when we get access to it on the SSN. And also, what is it with Tauros and Kangaskhan getting Tail Whip and Leer? Those moves do the exact same thing. And we actually do get a huge range of TMs just like Tauros, but we actually get more options. Of course we get the best normal type move, Body Slam, and then we also get Bubble Beam and Water Gun for some reason. And then Ice Beam Blizzard, we get all the fighting type moves, Thunderbolt Thunder, we get Earthquake but no Dig sadly, and then we can get Fire Blast, Rock Slide, and Surf. Yeah, somebody must have really loved Kangaskhan back at Game Freak. They didn't love Kangaskhan enough though to make it start with a better move at level 1, but it's something we're just going to have to deal with. I am still going to need a pretty decent level to take on Brock consistently, so what I can do is take on all the trainers in Viridian Forest, and then I can make my way to the Light Years Junior Trainer in Brock's gym. With access to Comet Punch and Rage, my plan is to hopefully just Blackout Train on him until he beats me. But however though, I don't think it's going to end up working too well. But here's a neat little thing. I can defeat the Diglett with Rage, and Rage has a weird little interaction. If the opponent is using Rage, or in this case me, if I get hit twice with Sand Attack, Rage actually becomes 0% accurate. It's a very weird bug that we've discovered a long time ago. It's a pretty relatively unknown glitch, but we used to use it on Kangaskhan back in the day when we would take on Giovanni and Silph. If he used Rage and you used 2 Sand Attack, he would miss every single Rage, and it was pretty funny. And we do end up getting some successful blackouts because of it, but we're only able to do this for so long because Kangaskhan is just that good with Comet Punch and Rage. Once I end up defeating the Light Years trainer, I go back into the forest and just train in the wild for a little bit. I keep doing this until I get access to level 13, so why don't we use this level to take on the first gym leader, Brock. He leads off with his Geodude. I start off by using Comet Punch, which is only doing roughly 1 to 2 damage per hit, and now that he has used Defense Curl, now it is probably only doing 1 damage per hit. But one of the good things is if we get a crit, Comet Punch is actually going to do a lot of damage. The main plan here is just to spam Comet Punch for a while, and then eventually on the Geodude, I'm going to switch over to Rage. So now, hopefully on the Geodude, I can build up my Rage counter before I get to the Onix. But funnily enough, the Geodude builds up my Rage counter by 0 because he spammed Defense Curl and the one time he used Tackle he missed. So yeah, that was annoying. But fortunately the Onix cooperates and just keeps hitting me with Tackle, and now my attack is at +3, so Rage is doing some okay damage. although he does end up using Bide, which is not good because I can't stop myself. And fortunately, the Onix is stupid, he uses Bide again, and I end up defeating Brock on the first try at 3 HP left under 10 minutes into the run. So yeah, that was a pretty lucky Brock fight, I'm not gonna lie. The Route 3 trainers leading to Mount Moon don't cause any issues, like always. Then in the grass, I end up catching a Spearow, so now that I have a Spearow, I can just catch a Geodude in Mount Moon instead of a Paris, and then just trade the Spearow for a Farfetch'd. But first, in Mount Moon, I actually go ahead and get probably the only special move I'm ever going to use this run. I get the TM for Water Gun. The reason I get the TM for Water Gun is just so I have an answer for the Geodudes. I'm not going to be using Water Gun that many times on opponents, and I'm actually not going to bother teaching Bubble Beam at all. It's just going to be used for the 2 Geodude 1 Onix guy in Rock Tunnel, as well as the Geodude people on the Nugget Bridge. But funnily enough, when I'm getting Mega Punch, I actually do find a Paris, and I do decide to actually catch it, so I'll just use a Spearow for Fly. I won't even trade it for Farfetch today, which is nice because the trading does take time. And now with Mega Punch on my moveset, Kangaskhan is going to be doing a lot better at this point in the game. I can easily defeat the Super Nerd, get the Helix Fossil, and now we are in Cerulean City. So now, do I take on Misty or take on Rival 2? Even though I can learn Bubble Beam, my special is so low that Misty is going to be doing completely devastating damage to me, so I instead decide to take on Rival 2 first. I'm just hoping Mega Punch is going to be enough to one-shot his Pidgeotto, and unfortunately it isn't. The reason I say unfortunately is because the Pidgeotto can use Sand Attack, but fortunately it used its one turn just to use Quick Attack, so I'm able to knock it out without any sand in my face. And the Rival's just pretty easy after that. So now I can take on the rest of the Nugget Bridge trainers. Once I get to the Hikers with Geodude, I have Water Guns specifically for the Geodudes. So now with Bill rescued, I can go back to Cerulean and take on Misty. She leads off with her Staryu. I actually one-shot it with Mega Punch thanks to a crit. Then Bubble Beam does less than half, and Mega Punch actually almost one-shot the thing. If I had gotten a crit, it actually would have been a one-shot. But fortunately, I am able to live her Bubble Beam and Water Gun, and now the second badge is mine. Even though I can learn Bubble Beam, as I've stated before, I'm not gonna teach it because my special stat is just that bad. In fact, once I get to Vermilion City and enter the mart here to buy some super potions and some repels, I actually end up selling Bubble Beam, just so I have some extra money. But now, on the SSN, I can get a much better move. I can defeat this youngster with the Nidoran, and then I can get myself the TM for Body Slam. This is going to be Kangaskhan's best move in the entire playthrough, just like it was for Tauros. Although my attack stat isn't as good as Tauros, at least it's going to be doing some devastating damage, including on the rival fight, as well as the next gym leader, Surge. It's just a shame though that Kangaskhan cannot learn Dig but can learn Earthquake, so I'm going to have to take on Surge with Body Slam. But it doesn't really matter though. I one-shot the Voltorb, the Pikachu, and I actually almost one-shot the Raichu. I didn't have any damage ranges on me while playing this run, so I have no idea if there's actually a chance of a one-shot. I'm willing to bet there is though. But once I defeat Surge, I do end up getting the TM for Thunderbolt. However though, we will end up getting Rock Slide once we get to Celadon City. That's just going to be a way better solution to deal with all of the flying types, especially for Gyarados. But I will still end up teaching Thunderbolt for now because it will have some niche uses. For example, I could use Thunderbolt on the Slowpoke inside of Rock Tunnel, but because of our very low special, it ends up living in red health, but it ends up being the better move anyway because his Cubone did actually hit me with Growl, lowering my attack. But still, it's got a few niche uses, it's not really a bad idea to teach it. And also, on the self-destructing hiker, even with our bad special, Water Gun is enough to one-shot all of his Pokemon. So yeah, Bubble Beam is not necessary for this thing at all. And funnily enough, I accidentally encounter an optional trainer near the end of the cave because my repel ran out at just the wrong time, and I end up going down because of muscle memory, and yeah, optional fight. Not a big deal. Then I can head my way to Celadon City, enter the department store, buy some super repels, buy 2 Pokedolls, one of them will be used for Mimic later, just like with Tauros, and then on the top of the department store, I can go ahead and get myself the TM for Rock Slide. This move will be Kangaskhan's best option to deal with flying types. And I do buy a couple of vitamins for Kangaskhan. Today's Vitamin of the Day is just 2 protein, pretty simple. We need more attack, our special is bad, no point for calcium, our speed's already good enough. So yeah, just 2 proteins. Just before taking on the rival in Pokemon Tower, I do teach Rock Slide in the place of Comet Punch, and I still have Water Gun and Thunderbolt on my moveset, but with access to Rock Slide, I can actually one-shot the Pidgeotto in addition to the Execute, and then I have 1 use for Thunderbolt, I use it to one-shot his Gyarados. I'm sure Rock Slide could have done the job, but at least Thunderbolt is 100% accurate, so that's the reason I went for it. Plus, one of the best uses for Rock Slide at this point is that Rock Slide is my only move that can actually one-shot the Ghastlies in Pokemon Tower, so I don't have to deal with any shenanigans of them hitting me with Confuse Ray or something like that. Although Kangaskhan has it generally safer here than most Pokemon, because I'm actually immune to Lick, so there's no chance of paralysis at all. So the only risk factor here is just Confuse Ray. But that is obviously assuming I actually miss Rock Slide, which does end up happening once or twice, but I end up coming through pretty easily. Now with Pokemon Tower cleared out, I have access to either Erica, Koga, or Rival 5. Just like with Tauros, I will be going to Silph Co first, because on the 10th floor, just like with Tauros, I can actually get the TM for Earthquake. This is going to be another one of Kangaskhan's best moves for coverage. With access to normal, rock, and ground, I have neutral coverage at almost every single type in the game. So yeah, this is going to be the perfect moveset. I go ahead and teach Earthquake in the place of Water Gun. And right after getting Earthquake, I go ahead and take on most of the good trainers in Silph, because even though we are in the medium-fast level up group instead of the slow group like Tauros was, we'll still need to take on a few good trainers. And besides, if you know what trainers to fight for the best XP yields, it really doesn't take that much time at all, plus it'll make the late game way more consistent. So now let's go take on Rival 5. After all the training I did in the company, I am level 39. I can use Rock Slide to one-shot the Pidgeot thanks to a crit, which I think actually did matter. Then on the Execute, I use Rock Slide by accident. No idea why I did that, I should have used Body Slam. And then I misclick again and go for Earthquake on the Gyarados. Okay, I'm just really asking for it at this point. And actually, Thunderbolt doesn't one-shot it anymore, so I think Rock Slide should have been the play there. But Rock Slide is the play for Charizard because of its 4 times weakness to rock moves. And then I can defeat the Charizard, defeat Giovanni and Silph, and now with Silph Co liberated, I have one of 3 gym leaders I could defeat, and I choose to take on Sabrina first. I one-shot her Kadabra, her Mr. Mime, get to level 43. Her Venomoth lives, but it just uses Psybeam. It gets a crit on me doing okay damage, and then on the Alakazam, it outspeeds me, goes for Psywave, literally only doing 5 damage, and I end up defeating her pretty dang easy. I mean, Sabrina in the Gen 1 games is honestly a pretty bad gym leader. She's only really good if you're weak to psychic moves, like if you're using a poison type or something. And now with Sabrina defeated, I go down through Cycling Road, skip all of the trainers here, go through the Safari Zone, and now we can take on our 5th gym leader, Erica. Hopefully I remember to use Body Slam on her and not Earthquake like I did with Tauros by accident. On her Victory Bell, I actually used Body Slam and one-shot it. Then on the Tangela, it is also a one-shot with Body Slam, and her Vileplume is as well. I actually get a crit on it, but I do not think that was necessary at all. Yeah, I knew Erica was going to be pretty easy. So actually, why don't we go take on a slightly harder gym leader, Koga. No need to play the intro for this one because this is going to be 2 gym leaders back to back. I can use Earthquake to one-shot the Coughing, the Muck, his second Coughing, as well as his Wheezing. Oh wait, never mind, it lived, hit me with a crit Sludge. Doesn't matter though, he's still pretty easy. We still have Blaine left to go, but on my way surfing down to Cinnabar Island, I take on the Fisherman with 3 Sea King and 1 Goldeen for some very good late game experience, and then I can clear out the mansion, get the secret key, and now let's go take on the 7th gym leader, Blaine. Let's see if we can one-shot all of his Pokemon with Earthquake at level 46. I one-shot the Growlithe and the Ponyta, which was to be expected, but let's see if we knock out the Rapidash. Yes, we do. Alright, how about the Arcanine? It unfortunately is not a one-shot, but it doesn't do that much damage to me, so I end up defeating Blaine pretty easily. So now we have one more gym leader to go. We have to take on Giovanni. On his Rhyhorn, I use Earthquake and it surprisingly lives. Okay, that's interesting. Then on the Dugtrio, I one-shot it with Body Slam. Then on the Nidoqueen, I go for Body Slam, which was a mistake. I should have gone for Earthquake. I don't realize that for the Nidoking, and I do get hit with a very deadly Poison Sting. Then on the Rhydon, I switch to Earthquake. It can't hit me with Horn Drill because it's slow as dirt. I get to level 49, and Giovanni is defeated. I'm still doing very good so far. I'm still at 0 resets, just like Tauros was at this point. However though, we still have 6 trainers remaining in the playthrough. So why don't we go take on right away the first of those 6, Rival 6. Yeah, ironic, I know. On his lead Pidgeot, I use Rock Slide. It lives, but all it does is use Whirlwind, which doesn't do anything in trainer battles in Generation 1. Then on his Rhyhorn, I switch over to Earthquake. It lives, allowing him to use a Potion. Yeah, Potion. Then on the Execute, I use Body Slam. It lives and it hits me with Leech Seed. Uh-oh. Then on the Gyarados, it does half health with Rock Slide. I get hit with Dragon Rage and lose some of my HP. And then fortunately, the Alakazam is a one-shot. Then on the Charizard, I can switch over to Rock Slide and take it out in one hit. So yeah, the rival definitely had plenty of opportunities to knock me out, but fortunately, I'm able to prevail. We don't have any issues to worry about in Victory Road, and now we can arrive at the Pokemon League. I heal at the center, buy some full restores, and now we need to go take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. On Lorelei, I now have the move Mimic taught in the place of Rock Slide. I now have Mimic taught in the place of Body Slam. Body Slam isn't really that useful for the league, plus I can always just mimic a better move later, plus Rock Slide and Earthquake has neutral coverage against everything in the game, so I still don't have to worry about coverage. And now with Mimic, I can go ahead and steal Amnesia off the Slowbro, and then I can set up badge boosting my attack stat, which can only help me so much because I did get hit with a Growl earlier in the run, plus Slowbro decides to add insult to injury and use another Growl. And then on the Jinx, I go ahead and defeat it with Thunderbolt, which I would have done, but it froze me. Welp, Kangaskhan now has its first reset. Dang. On the next attempt, Kangaskhan ends up getting really low in HP, so I end up getting another reset on the Lapras. I decided I have 9 rare candies, I should really use them at this point. I guess I forgot to use them or didn't think it was necessary, but at the higher level of level 58, Lorelei is actually a lot easier and I finally end up defeating her. Next up is the second Elite Four member, the Hiker. I don't even know why I play an intro for this guy half the time, but I do want to show off an interesting strat you can do. If you have Mimic, you can actually steal the Onyx's Harden, badge boost your attack, and now that my attack is badge boosted because I'm at +3 defense, I can go ahead and use Body Slam on the Hitmonchan and wow. I actually got a reset on this guy because of a freeze. That is just embarrassing. What's even more embarrassing is that only in yellow version, his Hitmonchan has Fire Punch as well, so he could thaw you out. He does not have Fire Punch in this game, so yeah, that ended up being a reset on this guy. Oh my, that is just embarrassing. But I do set up to +4 hardens instead, and that does allow Earthquake to get the one-shot. And good thing that his Machamp decides to be nice and just use an X-Defend. So yep, he is no longer an issue, although that was still a very embarrassing reset. Next up is the third Elite Four member, Agatha. Obviously, having the move Earthquake is just going to completely destroy her entire team. I can use Earthquake to one-shot everything but the Golbat, but on the Golbat I have to use Rock Slide, which it actually ends up living, and it does hit me with Supersonic and Haze, getting rid of my badge boost. But my attack is so good, not having the badge boost doesn't really matter that much. I can still one-shot the rest of her poison types with Earthquake. Next up is the Dragon type Elite Four member, Lance. Just before this fight, I replaced Earthquake with Blizzard. Starting right away on his Gyarados, I go ahead and mimic Hyper Beam, and then I can Thunderbolt to two-shot the Gyarados, not a one-shot because my special is just bad. Then on the Dragonair, I can one-shot both of them with Hyper Beam thanks to my same type attack bonus. Then on the Aerodactyl, I use Blizzard, it gets a crit and one-shots. Then on the Dragonite, I use Blizzard and it surprisingly lives. And then fortunately, I'm able to use another Blizzard. He uses Hyper Beam, so I retaliate with my own Hyper Beam that I stole from the Gyarados. Alright, now we just have the champion. It's a shame I got 3 resets in the league, but hey, maybe we can completely destroy the champion. Let's find out. This was a neat little strat that Axew came up with. I actually taught Strength to my Kangaskhan in the place of Thunderbolt, so now I have an actual good normal type move. It's not as good as Body Slam once was, but it'll do for this fight. I can use Rock Slide to two-shot the Pidgeot, and all it does is just use a useless Whirlwind. Then on the Alakazam, I use Strength to one-shot it. Then on the Rhydon, I can go ahead and mimic Horn Drill, because I'm going to use this to defeat the Exeggutor coming up next, because otherwise the alternative strat is to use weak Blizzards. And on the Exeggutor, I actually get a one-shot with Horn Drill. Then on the Gyarados, I go ahead and use a Rock Slide, it gets a crit allowing me to one-shot, I get to level 63, and just to be a troll for this guy, I actually decide to take out his Charizard with Horn Drill instead of Rock Slide, which would have ended up being very devastating if the Charizard didn't lock itself into Rage. I could have just one-shot it with Rock Slide, but I just wanted to be a troll. And now, with the Charizard defeated, Kangaskhan clocks in, with a time of 58 minutes and 36 seconds, with 3 resets at level 63, and a game time of 2 hours and 48 minutes. Even though Kangaskhan ended up getting 3 resets this run, while Tauros had 0 resets, this Pokemon actually did way better than Tauros. This Pokemon actually got sub-hour on 3 times speed, which is a very good feat to accomplish. And if we take a look at the leaderboard, Kangaskhan has actually earned itself the top 5 position at 5th place. The only Pokemon that did better were Articuno, Zapdos, Venusaur, and Blastoise. It actually beat out Charizard by about a couple of minutes, because Charizard has to deal with Lance's Gyarados. And it was able to do way better than Tauros, even though Tauros had 0 resets. There are a couple of reasons for this. One, Comet Punch and Rage is just a better moveset to take on Brock with than Tackle. plus having access to Rock Slide ended up being a very good help for Kangaskhan, and Tauros wasn't able to utilize Rock Slide. It had to rely on Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, but at least Tauros had pretty decent special. But my overall opinion of these two, both of them are very good Pokemon in Generation 1, but the main thing that held Tauros back was obviously just its growth rate, because needing to do more training to be a better level for the league while Kangaskhan had to do less training just wasn't good. But Kangaskhan, though, having only 40 special is really dang bad. That's only double the special of Weedle. I'm not even kidding when I say that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed these two normal types from the Safari Zone. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support me through YouTube memberships. All YouTube members not only get access to all the patch files for all the backport Pokemon we do on stream, but you also get access to these videos around a couple weeks early. So if you would like those benefits, please become a member today. The next Pokemon we'll be doing next week, we'll be playing Pokemon Pearl with Vespiquen and Mothim, two very bad but good looking bug type Pokemon. We'll be starting off with Vespiquen on Monday though. I will see you all in the next video.